What if a simple kitchen ingredient, no bigger than a grain of rice, could restore blood circulation to your manhood in under 90 seconds? I'm not referring to expensive medications, complicated procedures, or miracle cures. I'm discussing something completely natural, widely available, yet remarkably effective. For countless gentlemen past 60, this single overlooked ingredient has revitalized their vigor, enhanced their cardiovascular function, and even rekindled the physical connection they believed had vanished forever. I'm Dr. Charles Bennett, urologist specializing in male sexual health for seniors, with 3 decades of clinical experience helping gentlemen reclaim their assurance, power, and masculine wellness. What I'm preparing to reveal isn't theoretical speculation. It's the approach I implement with actual clients daily. Here's the fascinating aspect. Ancient civilizations gave this ingredient to soldiers before combat and to husbands before romantic encounters for generations. Yet contemporary healthcare largely dismisses it entirely. Recent scientific research validates what traditional knowledge understood centuries ago. The active element concealed within this ingredient naturally enhances cardiovascular flow and can rival pharmaceutical alternatives without adverse reactions. Throughout this presentation, I'll guide you through 10 essential revelations. Why masculine function diminishes after 60. What's secretly restricting your cardiovascular system, and how incorporating just one small piece daily can rebalance hormonal levels, stamina, and rest quality. I'll provide the precise 90-second technique, optimal consumption timing, and anticipated outcomes after 1 week, 2 weeks, and 1 month. Stay engaged because the crucial moment, the element that unifies everything, arrives at the conclusion. Your masculine vitality hasn't disappeared. It's simply dormant, waiting for activation. Let's get started. Before proceeding, please click the subscribe icon and activate notifications so you won't miss future natural wellness guidance created exclusively for gentlemen over 60. If you discover this presentation valuable, comment yes below. If not, comment no. Your input enables me to develop superior, more beneficial material specifically for your needs. Now, let's start with the reality most gentlemen have never learned. If your masculine response has diminished or feels insufficient after 60, you're not responsible. And it's not simply the passage of years. Actually, there's a distinct correctable explanation for this occurrence. Understanding this represents the initial step toward recovering your strength. 1. Why masculine function declines after 60, and why you shouldn't blame yourself. I'll always remember a gentleman named William who visited my practice several years back. He was 69, no longer working, and sat quietly before confessing, "Doctor, I simply don't recognize myself anymore." He wasn't requesting impossible solutions. He merely wanted to experience vitality again, engaged, self-assured, and bonded with his spouse. What he didn't understand then, what most gentlemen fail to recognize, is that his circumstances weren't unusual. In reality, it's something I encounter from thousands of clients. You understand, after 60, the cardiovascular vessels supplying your reproductive organs start becoming rigid and constricted. These vessels are extraordinarily narrow, approximately the diameter of a single hair strand. Any swelling, tension, or inadequate circulation accumulated over decades gradually restricts them. Masculine response doesn't vanish instantly. It weakens progressively. When this happens, it erodes your self-confidence. But here's what truly matters. It's not unchangeable. It's not beyond repair. And it's absolutely not your responsibility. Your physiology still recalls how to function properly. It's merely awaiting appropriate support, the correct stimulus to reopen cardiovascular pathways. No pharmaceutical can permanently restore that organic capability. However, nature understands healing. One minuscule, disregarded ingredient contains the precise compound required to initiate this restoration naturally within moments. So the question becomes, what is this ingredient? How does it function so rapidly to restore cardiovascular flow in gentlemen over 60? Allow me to demonstrate. 2. Allicin and sulfur compounds, the powerful agents concealed inside garlic. When I initially investigated natural solutions for cardiovascular flow and intimacy challenges in older gentlemen, I wasn't anticipating discovering something so potent concealed in something so ordinary. Then I encountered garlic, an ingredient I'd observed in innumerable kitchens, utilized throughout history, barely acknowledged. What captured my attention wasn't merely the tradition surrounding it, but compounds within it called allicin and sulfur-based molecules. Allicin generates garlic's distinctive, pungent aroma. Beyond that, it's an organic vasodilator. This means it assists cardiovascular vessels in relaxing and expanding, particularly those that have become constricted, narrow, and inflexible with aging. This addresses the precise problem we discussed earlier. Masculine response fades because circulation can't reach its destination. Allicin helps transform that. What's remarkable is its speed. When you consume raw garlic, the compounds start absorbing directly through your oral tissues. This means allicin enters your circulation almost immediately. No waiting hours like pharmaceutical products require. Within moments, gentlemen describe a gentle warmth spreading through their lower abdomen. It's understated, not overpowering, but it's genuine. It's the indication that circulation is returning. I recall one client, a 73-year-old gentleman named Richard, who shared after 1 week of consuming garlic, "It feels like something awakened within me." That's allicin's power, not just improving circulation, but restoring the sensation of being completely alive again. Additionally, there's another ingredient I must mention: cinnamon. This aromatic bark contains cinnamaldehyde, another natural compound that supports healthy glucose metabolism and cardiovascular function. When combined with garlic, it creates a synergistic effect that many of my clients have found transformative. Now that you understand the secret ingredients, let me demonstrate exactly how to utilize them, because the consumption method makes tremendous difference. 3. The 90-second garlic and cinnamon method. How to execute it correctly. When I initially recommended garlic to my clients, I quickly discovered that consumption method matters equally as much as consumption itself. One gentleman, George 75, had been swallowing garlic capsules, wondering why nothing changed. I told him, "It's not merely what you consume, it's how you activate it." That's when I guided him through the straightforward 90-second technique, and within 1 week, George contacted me saying he'd experienced warmth and vigor below that he hadn't felt in years. Here's the precise execution. Start with 1 medium raw garlic clove and 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon powder. Not processed garlic, not aged extracts, just fresh organic garlic. Crush the clove thoroughly using a knife flat side or garlic press. For the initial 45 seconds, allow the crushed garlic to sit exposed to air. This activates the allicin formation, the enzymatic reaction that creates its medicinal properties. Then mix the crushed garlic with the cinnamon powder and a small amount of raw honey if desired for palatability. Consume this mixture slowly, allowing it to coat your mouth before swallowing. For the remaining 45 seconds, simply let the compounds absorb. The active elements have already begun functioning. Here's the beauty. This technique requires just 90 seconds daily. No pharmaceuticals, no medical appointments, no waiting areas, just a straightforward ritual you can perform in your kitchen that supports circulation, tranquility, and confidence. However, when you consume is equally important as how you consume. Next, I want to reveal the precise times making this technique even more effective. Times when your physiology is naturally prepared to absorb and respond. This is where genuine transformation begins. 4. When to consume garlic and cinnamon for maximum effectiveness. Throughout the years, I've learned that timing determines everything, particularly regarding natural healing. One of my clients, Martin, was faithfully consuming garlic daily, but wasn't observing much change. When I inquired about his timing, he responded, "Typically right after dinner or before retiring." I smiled and suggested, "Let's optimize that." Teat, once we adjusted the schedule, results appeared quickly. Deeper rest, sharper mental clarity, and stronger morning response within just 2 weeks. Your physiology responds differently depending on the hour. The optimal time I've discovered for most gentlemen is approximately 30 minutes before your evening meal on an empty stomach. That's when your digestive enzymes are most active, your metabolism is preparing for nutrient absorption, and your cardiovascular system is naturally receptive. Consuming garlic before dinner helps establish the foundation for deep, uninterrupted rest, precisely when testosterone production occurs. It also promotes calm, smooth circulation that supports your reproductive system overnight. The second best timing. First thing upon waking with water on an empty stomach. That's when you can jumpstart your circulation, eliminate that foggy sensation, and approach the day with renewed mental sharpness. Several of my clients even consume it before physical activity or intimate moments to enhance performance and presence. It's like preparing the engine before ignition. Remember, this transcends simple ingredients. It's a tool. When utilized at the appropriate moment, it becomes something transformative. But timing represents only one component. Because if your physiology remains trapped in chronic stress, no amount of circulation can repair what's genuinely depleting your strength. Let's discuss that next. 5. Garlic and cinnamon. Lower stress hormones and elevate testosterone. Organically, I'll be direct with you. When a gentleman tells me his energy is depleted, his drive is fading, and he simply doesn't recognize himself anymore, I don't immediately examine his testosterone measurements. I examine his stress levels. Because what most gentlemen don't comprehend is that stress silently destroys hormones, especially after 60. One gentleman I worked with named Douglas had nearly perfect laboratory results, but still felt completely exhausted. He was carrying the burden of family responsibilities, financial concerns, and years of unresolved tension. And his physiology displayed it, not in blood work, but in how he existed. Here's what's occurring. When your physiology experiences chronic stress, it releases cortisol, the fight-or-flight hormone. Cortisol and testosterone are adversaries. When cortisol elevates, testosterone decreases every single time. That's why even a healthy gentleman can feel lethargic, disconnected, or emotionally detached if stress controls everything. This is where garlic and cinnamon become more than simple ingredients. Garlic contains powerful organosulfur compounds that interact with your adrenal glands, helping regulate cortisol production. Cinnamon contains polyphenols that support balanced blood sugar, preventing the spikes and crashes that trigger stress hormone release. Within moments of consuming this combination, many gentlemen report feeling lighter, clearer, and more emotionally balanced. Not sedated, but secure. That's what allows testosterone to resume normal levels. Because your physiology can only rebuild when it feels safe enough to stop merely surviving and start flourishing. Now, let me introduce the third ingredient that amplifies everything: raw honey. This isn't just sweetener. Raw, unprocessed honey, contains enzymes, antioxidants, and trace minerals that support hormonal balance and provide sustained energy without blood sugar crashes. When combined with garlic and cinnamon, it creates a powerful trilogy that addresses stress, circulation, and vitality simultaneously. If you felt constantly pressured, this small ritual might be the pressure release your system requires. But here's the genuine magic. When your stress decreases and your testosterone increases, something else occurs during sleep. And it's something most gentlemen have no idea is even achievable. Let me demonstrate what I mean. 6. Superior rest, superior hormones, superior masculine response. Rest is something most people take for granted until they begin losing it. I've sat across from gentlemen in their 60s and 70s who say, "I sleep, but I awaken exhausted." Or, "I'm awake every 2 hours like clockwork." What many don't comprehend is that inadequate rest isn't merely about fatigue. It's the foundation for everything, especially your hormonal health. One gentleman I treated named Bernard was barely sleeping through the night. After 1 week of utilizing the garlic cinnamon honey method before dinner, he told me, "I'm finally experiencing dreams again and awakening with something I haven't felt in years." Your physiology produces the majority of testosterone during the deepest rest stages, those uninterrupted quiet hours when your system repairs itself. If you're tossing and turning or awakening frequently, your physiology never gets the opportunity to rebuild. That has genuine consequences. Lower testosterone, lower motivation, and yes, weaker masculine response. What makes this combination so effective is its ability to gently calm the nervous system while improving circulation simultaneously. Garlic salicin expands the vessels, while cinnamon's cinnamaldehyde stabilizes glucose levels, preventing nighttime awakenings. Together, they create the ideal environment for recovery, not just from the day, but from years of accumulated stress. If rest has become something you dread instead of something that restores you, this small evening ritual could transform everything. But there's something else potentially sabotaging your masculine function that most gentlemen never consider looking for. It doesn't originate from your circulation. It starts right inside your oral cavity. Let me explain. 7. Oral bacteria, the hidden masculine function destroyer. Most gentlemen are astonished when I inform them that one of the biggest threats to their masculine response may be hiding right behind their smile. It sounds unusual, I understand, but repeatedly, I've observed gentlemen who struggled with weak circulation, low stamina, and even chronic exhaustion, only to discover the genuine culprit was inflammation starting in their gums. I remember one client, Edward, who had nearly abandoned hope of restoring his intimate life. Nothing was functioning. During a casual conversation, he mentioned that his gums bled every time he brushed. That's when it connected. Your oral cavity is one of the fastest pathways into your circulation. When bacteria from periodontal disease enters your bloodstream, it spreads silent inflammation throughout your physiology. Those tiny vessels we discussed earlier, the ones responsible for masculine response, they're the first affected. It's like attempting to pump water through a garden hose filled with debris. The pressure exists, but the flow is obstructed. What makes garlic so valuable here is its natural antimicrobial power. Allicin is a potent antibacterial compound that targets harmful microorganisms right at the source, your gums. When you consume raw garlic, the oils penetrate the tissues, cleansing as they function. It's not merely about fresh breath, it's about clean circulation. Because when your oral cavity is healthy, your circulation improves. When your circulation improves, your manhood responds. If you've been neglecting your dental wellness, it might be time to reconsider everything. But here's the exciting aspect. When you begin utilizing this garlic-cinnamon-honey combination consistently, transformations begin appearing faster than you might anticipate. Let me guide you through exactly what to expect at 1 week, 2 weeks, and 1 month. You'll be amazed. 9. Motivation. You're not broken. You're reawakening. One of the most rewarding aspects of my practice is hearing how small, consistent modifications create genuine transformation. I remember a gentleman named Vincent who started this method somewhat skeptical. He'd tried supplements before. Pills, powders, nothing ever seemed to last. But I told him, give this 30 days, just 90 seconds daily. Observe what happens. He did. What followed was a quiet but powerful shift, one that mirrors what I've observed in countless gentlemen. In the first 7 days, most gentlemen begin experiencing something subtle, a lightness in their chest, a gentle warmth in the lower abdomen. Rest becomes slightly deeper. Mornings feel less sluggish. It's not dramatic, it's foundational. Your physiology is adjusting. Your circulation is moving. By day 14, the transformations accelerate. You may notice more mental sharpness and emotional stability. Awakening feels easier. Some gentlemen report spontaneous masculine response or a stronger morning function, something they thought had vanished forever. Confidence returns, not just in intimate moments, but in how you carry yourself throughout the day. By day 30, that's when the deeper transformations take hold. Circulation feels stronger. Masculine response feels firmer, more consistent. You're resting better, managing stress with more ease, and feeling present in your own physiology again. You're not pursuing youth. You're reclaiming vitality. Now let me introduce 2 additional ingredients that can accelerate these results even further. First, ginger root. This powerful rhizome contains gingerol, a compound that enhances circulation and supports healthy inflammation response. When you add a small piece of fresh ginger to your garlic-cinnamon mixture, it creates an even more potent formula for masculine vitality. Second, pumpkin seeds. These small green seeds are packed with zinc, an essential mineral for testosterone production and prostate health. Just 1 tablespoon of raw pumpkin seeds daily, consumed alongside your garlic mixture, can provide the nutritional support your reproductive system needs to function optimally. But here's what makes this even more meaningful. It's not just about what these ingredients do for your physiology. It's about what they awaken in your spirit. Because when you begin feeling strong again, you show up differently in every aspect of your existence. That brings us to something every gentleman needs to hear, especially if you've been silently wondering if your best years are behind you. Let's discuss. If you've reached this point, I want to speak heart to heart. You are not broken. I've had so many gentlemen sit across from me, ashamed, defeated, wondering what happened to the person they used to be. They whisper about how they've lost their spark, how they feel invisible, like their strength has been slipping through their fingers. I always tell them the same thing. Decline is not your destiny. You're not finished. You're just disconnected from your own power. Because here's the truth. Your physiology remembers. Your mind remembers. Even if it's been years since you felt fully alive, the systems that once gave you energy, intimacy, and drive are still within you. They've just been buried beneath stress, inadequate circulation, sleepless nights, and silent inflammation. But those conditions can be reversed. Not with magic, not with miracles, but with simple natural tools and the courage to begin again. What garlic, cinnamon, honey, ginger, and pumpkin seeds represent isn't just ingredients. It's a signal to your physiology that it's time to reawaken, that you're ready to heal, ready to feel strong, grounded, and confident again. The results aren't overnight, but they are genuine. What starts with a tiny shift in circulation can ripple outward into every aspect of your existence. Don't measure your worth by how you feel right now. Measure it by the gentleman you're becoming. One day, one decision, one commitment at a time. Now that you've come this far, you're probably wondering exactly what to do next. Let's assemble it all because your plan for lasting strength starts right here. Here it is, your next step. Obtain organic garlic cloves, Ceylon cinnamon powder, raw unprocessed honey, fresh ginger root, and raw pumpkin seeds. Keep them somewhere visible where you'll remember. Each day, take 1 crushed garlic clove mixed with 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon and 1 teaspoon honey. Add a small piece of grated ginger and consume 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seeds alongside. Just 90 seconds of preparation. That's all it requires to begin transforming how you feel, rest, and perform. You don't need perfection. You just need to start. Your physiology hasn't abandoned you. It's been waiting for a signal. Now you've found it. 90 seconds, 5 simple ingredients, 1 decision. Your strength is returning. Welcome home. Important. Note, this content is for general knowledge only. It does not replace evaluation by a specialized professional. If you have questions or symptoms, consult your healthcare provider.